Hey everybody, it's Chris from CRT Sports Cards with our second T206 video for the new year. It's February 1st, and in the month of January, we had 15 new arrivals. My first video that I posted a few weeks ago covered our first 10. This is going to cover the last 5 pickups of the past few weeks. I was sort of in a non-buying period there for a little bit as my mailbox was broken, my mail was being held, but now that is fixed. I should have a few more pickups this month just based on the mailbox being functioning now. But overall for our set, we are sitting at 120 cards as we enter into February. We are now up to 38 polar bear backs. As I covered before, that is my current buying focus at the moment. And on the Hall of Famers, which is the heavy theme of these pickups this week, we are now up to 16 Hall of Famers. So really good spot to be at in February, and let's get to the cards. So first up this week is the Sweet Capital here on the left. So Sweet Capital 350. This is our first Hall of Famer. So Miller Huggins, born in 1879 and died in 1929. This is an example of a Hall of Famer I picked up at a good price without a polar bear back. Or this card doesn't exist in polar bear. While he was a player, he is more known for managing the 27 Yankees that had Ruth, Gehrig, and the likes on that team. He won as a manager the World Series in 1923, 1927, and 1928, along with winning the AL pennants in 21, 22, and 26. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1964, and this is one of 2 of his T206 cards. And as you can tell, it's lived a very rough life, but you can still see the color and the player itself. So there is our first Hall of Famer of the week. Second card up this week is one of the more rare T206 card. This is George Bering. There's based on the population reports, there's the top 25. This is number 20 on the list of I would say harder to find polar bear backs. As you can tell, highly trimmed. Someone many years ago cut off the border, but the card itself is still there. A little paper loss in the top left here, and the back is very, very clean. So George Bering was just really an average player overall. Bounced around major leagues, minor leagues. Pictured here for the Cleveland Naps. He was born in 1884 and died in 1960. The cool thing here is being in Seattle. His last year of baseball, he played for the Seattle Rainiers in 1919. He had a total of 30 at bats and hit 167. So the cool part, though, like I said, is that this is, from a polar bear perspective, one towards the rare side. And when it comes to the top 25 list, this is my 4th card in the top 25 on scarcity. So there's George Bering. Third up this week is John McGraw and our second Hall of Famer. This is one of his 4 T206 cards and my first of his. You can tell pretty clean front overall. I mean, one crease up there, and the card I'm pretty sure it's torn from on the back to the front, but overall still presents very well, and the color is, I think, great for this card for being this old. McGraw was born in 1873 and died in 1934. His run with the Giants was obviously quite incredible. 3 World Series and 10 pennants in his career, and he also hit 320. He had over 329 straight seasons, and he had a career OBP of 466. I think the cool thing with him is that he is, when you think of him as a ball player, he's also an entrepreneur and obviously probably a pretty successful one. He owned a pool hall back in the day with Arnold Rothstein, and anyone who's familiar with the Black Sox scandal, he is the one who fronted the cash for the fix. He also shared ownership in Cuba with a racetrack and a casino, and then he also helped Jacob Ruppert buy the Yankees. So here's a guy who played baseball and then had a great mindset when it came to business and making money after his career. He did die in 1934, as I said, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1937. So there is John McGraw, sorry. Fourth up this week is our second Vic Willis. Vic Willis has 3 cards in a T206 set. The other one I have is the portrait, but this is the throwing version of Vic Willis, and obviously a polar bear back, as you could tell earlier. Vic Willis was born in 1876 and died in 1947. As I have covered before, with Willis, he was the last pitcher to throw a no-hitter in the 19th century in 1899. He won 20 or more games 8 times in his career. He pitched an incredible 388 complete games, and he still holds a record that will probably forever stand. In one season, he threw 45 complete games. So just an incredible arm and some incredible stats that will probably never be touched in baseball when you think of the modern game. But there is Vic Willis, polar bear. And our 5th card of the week, another Hall of Famer, and probably my favorite card of the week, even though it's not a polar bear back. Here's George Davis for the White Sox. This is very basic Piedmont 150, but I think the reason why it's my favorite card is just the way it looks, the color, the shadow in the back. I think it's a shadow or something, but I just think with the sleeves, the background images, I think this is, from a visual perspective, my favorite card of the week. And then you look at the white belt, I think everything just works so well with this card. Davis obviously has no polar bear back, so that's why I picked this up in the basic Piedmont back for the Hall of Fame collection. There's just no polar bear back variation of this one. Davis was born in 1870 and died in 1940. In 1893, it's really crazy to think about, he hit 355 with 37 stolen bases. He hit over 309 times in his career, and when you look at the record books, he is in the top 100 of overall games played. He was also part of the 1906 World Series championship team. After baseball, he tried to become a used car salesperson, and then he also tried to be a professional bowler. So hard to know how that turned out, but after baseball, he turned to cars and bowling. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1998, so just about 20 years ago. He's been put in the Hall of Fame, and through some investigation work, his death was sort of unknown for many years, but he died in 1940, and he spent his last 6 years in a mental institution. So a difficult end to his life, and some people will say not the best Hall of Famer, but I think from a visual perspective, this is definitely a Hall of Fame card with George Davis on it. So there we have it, 5 pickups for the week, 4 Hall of Famers, and a rare polar bear back. Brings our set now to 120, and a special thank you to all of the recent subscribers. When I made my last video, we're about 95. We now have 110 as of this morning, so thank you for the support. And as always, I appreciate any comments, any thumbs up, thumbs downs, any shares of the video, and any further subscriptions. Thanks, guys, and have a great week.